it is said that in one of the international airports they don't supply the Wi-Fi for good. You can only have or use the Wi-Fi by solving a limited integration, where the value of the solution of the limited integration between these two limits gives you the password of the Wi-Fi. So what we are going to do here is to solve this integration, find its value. Once we would have the password. Okay, let's start. Look at this integration and solve it together. So here is our integration. It is the integral from -1 to 1 of x cubed plus x over 2 cosine x over 2 plus half, all into the square root of 4 minus x squared, all dx with respect to x. We should, before for solving this integration, we have to bear in mind some facts. The integral of an odd function between equal limits, let's say minus a to a, dx equal to 0. The integral of an odd function between two equal limits about the y-axis raised to the nth power, where n is odd, with respect to x is equal to 0. Also, if we have two functions multiplied together, one even and the other odd, they are considered, they actually are odd. So this principle applies to them, which is the integral between two limits, two equal limits, yields 0 for an odd index and not 0 for an even index. Now let's start solving our integration. This integration, before I want to explain here, I prefer to it should be, no, it's not my preference, it should be divided into two integrations to make things easier. The x cubed cosine x over 2 times the root and the half times the root. Now let's start our first integration, x cubed cosine x over 2 times the root, the quantity under the root. This would yield 0. Why? The x is an odd function raised to an odd function, so this is an odd function. The cosine, the square, the quantity under the root here, in our case is an even, so long we don't exceed the -2, because where x is -2, this is squared is 4. And you would find that this quantity is even so long you don't exceed the -2. So this is even, this is even, this is, so these two together are an even function, this is an odd function, so these as a whole are an odd function. So the integral here from two equal limits about the y-axis should yield 0. It actually yields 0. Now let's start with our second integration, the integral of half times the square root, bringing the 2 under the root and in the denominator, of course, because this is outside the integration, it's in the denominator. So it would be 4 minus x squared over 4, dividing both terms in the numerator by 4, it's 1 minus x squared over 4, which is 1 minus x over 2 all square dx. Now let's construct this triangle, making use of the x over 2, putting the opposite side x over equals x over 2, the hypotenuse being, let's make it 1, and thus the adjacent side would be the square of 1, which is 1, minus the square of x over 2, x squared over 4. So the adjacent side would be the square root of 1 minus x squared over 4, or minus x over 2 all square. That's a big difference. So according to our triangle, the cosine here is 1, the square root of 1 minus x over 2 all square. So, and also according to, let's call this one, and also according to our triangle, the sine t is equal to x over 2. So differentiating the sine t, it would be cosine t dt equals dx over 2. The half is the constant of the differentiation, of course. So this is 1, this is 2, this is 3. Note that our original required integration is, this is actually cosine t, and dx here is twice cosine t dt. So our integral yields twice the integral of cosine t all square dt. And from trigonometric identities, cosine t all square equals cosine 2t plus 1 over 2. So our integral here is 2 times the integral of cosine 2t plus 1 over 2. 2 cancelled with the 2. We would be left with cosine 2t plus 1 all dt. We don't want to put the limits here. Actually, it is a limited integration, but we'll soon be transferring it to the x, where our limits is from 1 to minus 1. We don't want to bother ourselves to transfer we would not be using it, the limits in case of t. So I here would be the integral of cosine 2t is sine 2t over 2 plus t plus c. Sine 2t from trigonometry equals twice sine t cosine t over 2. Cancelling the 2 together, plus t plus c, the constant of integration. We will not need it soon. So here I, substituting sine t is x over 2 and cosine t. So here the I is x over 2 and this is the cosine. T is sine. What is t? Is sine to the power minus 1 of x over 2. And here it is the same, but with the limit of minus 1 and substituting. This is just to remember that our upper limit is 1 and the lower limit minus 1. So we substitute here only for the sine half, and the cosine still we haven't substituted. Sine minus 1 of half, x upper limit 1. Here our limit is minus 1. This is the cosine, still we haven't substituted. Sine minus 1 of minus 1. Here our limit is minus 1. Here we substituted the cosine, x square over 2. It is a square of 1. It is 1. And taking the LCM, square of 2, it's being 4, so it would be, this root would yield root 3 over 4. Here our limit is minus 1 over 2, and the pi also would be, that is sine minus 1 of half, it is 30, which is pi over 6. Here our limit would be minus pi over 6, minus 30. This is 360 minus 30. Here the minus with the minus, here the minus with the minus, so it is the same bracket but multiplied by 2, because the minus goes with the mix, the minus with minus is plus. So here our quantity is they could have this airport, I don't know what they mean. They could be tricking, because this is not the only value of the where the sine is equal to half. 5 pi over 6 is equal to half, which is equal to 150 degrees, and here also it is 360 minus 150, of course, but I don't think that's what they meant. They meant the first instance, which is this integration. So let's make short over this and carry on our substitution. This integration, this after substitution would yield 2 times root 3 over 2 plus pi over 6 would yield the 2 with the 2 and the 6 with the cancelled with the 2, would left by root 3 over 1 plus pi over 3, and using the calculator our solution is 2.7792 carry on, etc., which is should be the password of the Wi-Fi at that mentioned airport. If you have found my integration interesting, subscribe in my channel. If you are not specialized in mathematics and found all this nonsense, tell your friends who are specialized in math, whether at high school, interested whether at high school or at the university. My channel contains many items. It contains boxing, concerning the golden age of boxing. It contains thermodynamics and heat transfer. Tell your friends, whatever if they are interested in any of these branches. So that's all, dear audience. If any question, you have any question concerning this or any other of my videos, send your email on a comment. Once I would send you my answer to your question. Goodbye, dear audience.